So my mantra is one that started when my husband and I were first going through infertility to conceive our daughter, who now is 4.5 almost. We were almost 4 years into an infertility journey. So we're a little older. And as such, we had to jump along with the fertility process assisted with IUI and IVF. We had to go through multiple rounds. We ended up going through multiple doctors, ended up traveling out of state. So, in my experience, I didn't know anyone firsthand in my own life that was going through anything like I was going through. I'm sure there are thousands of people that I know, but no one was just public about it. And that's fine. It's personal preference. But it was one that I needed as a yoga teacher. I work with affirmations, I work with mantras. I needed something to inspire me to keep going because all I could see was people just easily getting pregnant. And that wasn't me. That didn't look like me. It wasn't my life. And so it was a mantra that inspired me to, remind myself that nothing worth having comes easy. That things now, being a mom, and now going through infertility again to conceive my second and going through IVF again to conceive my second, currently pregnant at 41. It's one that I think really resonates with me still. As a parent, parenting is not easy. I'd love to say that I did all the hard work getting pregnant. The reality is that was just preparation. There's more hard work to come, and parenting doesn't come. There's some things that come instinctually, but in general, there's a lot. And we live in a world now in a pandemic where there's so many other things to think about that I didn't have to think about when I first, conceived her and had her. So yeah, I would say it's a mantra that has stuck with me even still. And now again, it's almost cyclical because I'm back in that same infertility and back in the pregnancy cycle again. But again, it's one that has really resonated because as I teach my daughter, don't give up. Things aren't going to come easy out of whether it's riding a bike, swimming lessons, dance class, all the activities that she does. I want her to see that it takes effort, and it's worth the effort because that's part of the journey. Learning all the things that you learn along the way. I think going through infertility years ago prepared me to experience IVF in a different light this time around. I knew right away what support system I needed to tap into. I wasn't going to sit around and waste my time around just feeling sorry for myself. I knew what I needed to do to stack the cards in my favor. So, I think that is an approach that I now look at with my daughter of, just teaching her that it's worth the effort to not give up. And if it's going to take effort, then it's something worth having. So
I couldn't agree more. I think that's wonderful. I loved your mantra. What do you love about being a mom?
It's every day is a new day. Some things work in terms of especially now that she's older, it's a little bit different when they're in the newborn and the infant stage. They definitely tend to be moldable. Now it's like she's her own person. So what worked one day in terms of how I supported her, coached her, guided her is sometimes a whole new challenge the very next day. So it's exciting in that, no 2 days are alike in terms of what I'm offering to her as a parent. Our schedule is different. She's in pre-K, so she goes to school 3 days a week currently. And then we have activities, social activities that are organized, and then other ad hoc things that are just fun little things here and there that are seasonal. And that always keeps it interesting. But I think it's just as much a learning exercise for me too, to revamp the wheel. And if I, at the end of the day, if I feel like this was a hard one, this was a hard day, I have to pat myself on the back and say, I did it. I made it. Tomorrow's a new day. And at the same time, it's humbling because you have no idea what you're in store for.
Oh, you sound like such a great mom.
Okay.
What are some of the fun things that you like to do with her?
She is a very social kid. We have a very busy social calendar. She's active. She does soccer, swimming, dance class. She likes to explore play centers, whether they're indoors, whether they're outdoors, going to the park, playing with friends. School is thankfully a favorite of hers. We're still in that stage where she loves going to school, pre-K. The good days, right? Yeah, we like checking out special events that is both in the city and near us. We live in the LaGrange area, so western suburbs. But we travel north side too. So we go to some events there too. Yeah, she likes being busy. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because some days mama just needs a break. And on those days she asks, well, what are we doing? And I'm like, well, we need to take a little downtime today. So yeah,
Mama definitely needs time.
we always need some downtime. So especially if I know her calendar is full, like consistently for say 3 straight days, I deliberately try to make sure there's a down day where we're just in the house, or we're around the neighborhood and there's nothing on the calendar, because I think it's good for her and I just to decompress. I'm very close to giving birth, so at this point I can't be running around as much. Yeah, so it'll be an eye-opening experience having a newborn again and having a nearly 4.5-year-old. So
I'm so excited for you.
thank you.
In this journey, what advice would you offer other parents in Chicagoland?
I would say find your community. And I mean community in a broad sense. Whether it was for me infertility, I needed to find a support system. Again, not just feeling sorry for myself. In the beginning, like I said, I didn't know anyone. So I would kind of just find random people on the internet, like, hey, you want to talk about what you're going through? Because I want to talk about what I'm going through. And in doing that and me being more public, I've allowed myself to be, I think, a community for others, whether they then decide to be vocal about it themselves or they want to just keep it private. I can be a resource for people. That's actually changed somewhat in terms of even my own career. I taught a lot of yoga at a specific studio, and I started to shift to more yoga for fertility because I wanted to give back to that community that I felt so attached to. Pulling Down the Moon, it's a holistic wellness center. They focus on fertility enhancing massage, yoga for fertility, and fertility acupuncture. So it's one that I became a student of, a participant of myself when I was going through it, but it's also one that I can give back as a yoga teacher. In terms of other communities, I mean, of course, when you live in a community, you want, groups of friends for your kids. We really lucked out, and it was kind of just sheer luck of the draw. Like our neighborhood ended up being a neighborhood full of kids her age. We had no idea. We knew that it would be a good community, but we didn't know exactly the age groups of the kids on the street. Like we didn't ask the realtor that, but we kind of just lucked out. But I think at the end of the day, you want to find, obviously your village. And there's different types of village. You want to find the person who's going to support you, who's going to be your mom friend, who's going to cheer you on and say, you've done a good job. You had a hard day. You want to find that community if you're trying to be a mom, the infertility group. You want to find the mom play dates, right? For the kids. There's so many, I think the point is you can't have one person be everything. It's like your spouse, right? You can't put all those eggs in one basket. It's a heavy load to carry. It's just, yeah. So you need a network. It takes a village. I know that saying is overused, but there's a reason for it.
That's for sure.
So,
I'm going to